Hello world. This is Thursday, July, what? 21st, 2016, and we are in Las Vegas, Nevada, and it's, what, how hot is it outside? 100 and something? Let's see. That says 103, but I think it's warmer than that. Okay, so this is being, this is a live video for the whole world. So if you go on YouTube right now, under Hangouts on Air, anybody in the world could be watching this. Okay, so we record it so that if you want to, you can go back and look at it later. And, but it's only facing me, so you don't have to worry that anybody's going to see you. They'll hear you, but they don't know who you are, and it doesn't really matter anyway. Okay? Fair enough? Okay, so we're here to talk about what? What is it that your hope is for employment in the future?
I'm just gonna get a job and
Okay.
do what I do good.
Which is what?
I want to become a phlebotomist.
Phlebotomist. Okay, so drawing blood.
Yes.
Okay. And how about you?
I want to be a social worker.
Okay, what does that mean? What's a social worker?
Person that helps others.
Okay. Like a priest?
No.
Okay.
Like, say if they need assistance or something, I help them find the assistance.
Okay, and why do you want to do that?
Because I enjoy helping.
Okay, good, okay. So what we're here to talk about is how some of the things that you can do to make your chances of getting those jobs better and what to be thinking about in the future. So my name is Edward Bevilacqua. I teach at a school called Larson Training Centers. Oh, Miranda, would you please get some scratch paper? Do you have a pen? Okay, so we'll get you a pen too, because you're going to need to take notes. No, we'll wait till the paper comes, because you're going to need to take notes. So I teach at a school called Larson Training Centers, which is a post-secondary school. What does that mean to you? What's post-secondary? Okay, what would you think? Let's try to figure it out.
If you said post-secondary, I'd be like an off school, like, no. I don't know if that makes sense in my mind.
Okay,
If it makes sense to you,
so
like
what does
off-
post mean? Excuse me, what does post mean?
Children type of post?
Like before?
What's the opposite of before?
After. Okay, I'm like,
Post-secondary means after secondary school. What's secondary school? What's primary school? K through like 8th grade is primary school, or you have actually K through 5 here is elementary. Then you have middle school, right? And then you have high school. Okay, so high school is secondary. So I teach at a school that is a post-secondary school called Larson Training Centers, which has been in business in California since 1989 and here since 2013. And we happen to be lucky that we have a very high placement rate, about 85%. Might be higher now. A very high placement rate. So what we do, whatever we do, helps people get jobs. In post-secondary schools in Nevada, and we also are licensed in California, their fundamental purpose is to get people jobs. College, university's primary purpose is what?
education.
Yeah, to educate you, exactly. Okay. Post-secondary schools, their purpose is to get you jobs. The state doesn't care if you learn anything, just if you got a job in the field that you were trained in.
Right.
Okay? So we train people to do office jobs. Okay? Well, even for you.
Yeah,
So-
that's what I need.
Okay. So one of those jobs is admin.
That's exactly what I need.
Okay? So all companies, all businesses have 4 parts. Admin, finance, marketing and sales, operations. Okay, so let me say a couple things first. So we train our people, our students, we help our students, and we don't train them, we help them learn how to get these types of jobs in businesses that are there to make money. Okay. Use social workers, is the business of social workers to make money? No.
No.
Okay, no.
No,
It's not. Okay, it's not. So we don't really train our students to go get jobs in places that don't make money. Do doctors want to make money? Yeah, they do. So, however, these skills that we teach, we don't teach these, but these skills that we teach are still needed in places.
I have to become an assistant before I become a social worker.
Okay, so for example, when we tell people, when you go to an interview and they say, why should we hire you? Why should we hire you? Lorinda, why should we hire you?
Well, I would say you should hire me because I'm a very great learner.
Oh, sorry, it's falling asleep.
Right.
Okay, all right. So no, so when we're talking to our people, when we're training our students, and this would be for you mainly, when somebody says, why should we hire you? The answer is because I'm going to make you more money than anyone else.
I like that.
Okay? Because why do businesses hire people? Yeah, there's only two reasons businesses hire people: to make money or save money. We need some accountants, we need some people to help us save money, because money's disappearing. We're wasting money. We need people to help us save money, or we need people to help us make money. So as a phlebotomist, that would be over here, that's operations. How would you help that doctor make money?
By giving him my assistant's struggle.
By drawing blood. Because what does the doctor do when there's blood drawn?
That's it.
No. In terms of the business, not the doctor part.
Oh.
That's the in charge.
No, he charges money. Okay, every time you draw blood, somebody's going to pay. Usually an insurance company, right? Okay, so we can help. Our focus is helping people who are going to go get jobs with businesses that care about making money or saving money. That doesn't mean you're not going to learn a whole bunch. I'm just trying to tell you what Larson does. Okay? So, and we have a very high placement rate. I'm the director of education for the school, so California and here. And one thing I want you to feel very safe and secure and very comfortable about when you go home later and you think about this and you say, was that guy crazy, or what does he know? What I want you to feel very safe and secure is that the workshop that Southern Nevada Regional Housing Youth One Stop Affiliate is arranging here, is providing here, is better than you would get anywhere in Las Vegas. Period. Okay? Nobody at UNLV is going to be better at this workshop than who you have today. You probably would be very hard to find somebody at UNLV who has the same background that could offer as much information as I do. And I'm not saying that to brag, I'm saying it so you feel good. So I was born in Oakland. Either you from California? Where are you from?
Here.
Right here?
Right. No, from Vegas.
Okay, you were born here?
Yes.
Okay, where were you from?
I'm from Portland, are you?
Portland, okay. Okay, cool. How long have you been here?
Off and on for about 2 years.
Okay, cool. All right. So I was born in Oakland. I grew up near Oakland in a little town called Pleasanton. And it was very pleasant, very nice little pleasant town. And then I went to school in the Bay Area in Santa Clara, which is near Silicon Valley. You've heard of part of Silicon Valley. If you follow football, the 49ers' new stadium is in Santa Clara. So you're very close to the school. Did either of you follow basketball, NBA? Okay, so a guy named Steve Nash, who just retired a couple years ago, very good basketball player, went to Santa Clara. Governor of California went to Santa Clara. The lieutenant governor went to Santa Clara. The head of University of California system went to Santa Clara with me. Her name is Janet Napolitano. She used to be head of Homeland Security at the beginning with President Obama. And before that, she was the governor of Arizona. And she went to school with me. And her father went to Santa Clara with my father. And her father went to high school with my dad. So, and that was my undergraduate degree was in finance. It's a thing we don't teach at Larson, but it's in finance. And then I have a law degree. So then I went back and I got a law degree in San Diego. So I can assure you, you're not going to get anybody who's a better helper in your workshop today. So I feel very good about that. So whatever I say, you can believe it's true. Okay? So we're going to talk about helping you with your careers. And we're going to talk about it in terms of the future. Why?
It's going to be computerized in the future.
Well, it already is.
So, of course.
Okay. Okay, why?
So that matters, it's no going back, just going towards the future.
Okay, so it's mainly going to be framed around the future. But I just want to close with these things. So both of you should put this on your paper. So all businesses have these 4 departments: admin, operations, finance, marketing, and sales. Everything fits into that. Now at Larson, one of the things we teach our students, or we help our students learn, is accounting. Where does accounting go on here? Which one of these? Huh? No. So that's what a lot of people think. Trick question. So accounting goes in admin. Admin means administration. It's how it's running the business. So this is the people who pay the bills. So the accounting is in there, the insurance, the building, making sure the building is right. When customers walk in the door, it's the people that says, can I help you? It's the people who file papers or make outgoing calls to people. Hey, you owe us money, or do you want to, that's all administration. And at Larson, we teach people accounting. Then you learn QuickBooks. Have you ever heard of QuickBooks? Okay, so we teach QuickBooks. So that's the #1 small business accounting software. Finance, so accounting has to do with counting. The best way to think about it is counting money. So if you ever do any accounting, or when you run across accounting in any businesses, this is good for you to know for when you go into your interviews. Accounting, think of counting. Where did we spend the money? Where did money come in from? You need to count it. We need to count all of the money. So just think about that. Finance is not about counting money. Finance is about, it starts with the question, what is money? What is money? Okay. So, is this money?
No.
Why not?
It was money.
It was money?
Yeah. Well, it's not sure. You're not going to sell it. You're not going to make money off it.
Well, could I use it to buy something?
If you want to trade it, probably.
Yeah. Okay. So money is what money does, is the simple answer. So it gets to be really kind of kooky. What is money? Well, money is what money does. What does that mean? Well, if I can use it to buy something else, to exchange it for something else, because if I took out a dollar bill and I gave it to somebody for a banana, is that a trade? Yeah, I'm trading a piece of paper for a banana, right? If I trade this for a banana, or a whole bunch of bananas, is that the same thing as a piece of paper? Yeah, it's the same thing. I'm just trading this for that. And we just happen to believe these little green pieces of paper have certain values that are different than this, right? If we see a green piece of paper, it has a 1 on it. How many bananas can we buy for that? At 7-Eleven.
2.
Okay, 2, 1 or 2. Okay. So we don't teach this at Larson, because Larson is about 12 weeks, 12 to 16 weeks. We don't teach finance. But that's an important part of all business. It's where do you get the money? So you say, so finance has to do with, okay, what is money? Then where do we get the money? We have this idea, we want to start this business. Where do we get money? Where's one place you get money?
From customers.
Oh, good answer. But that's a good answer. What's another place? Nobody ever says that, but that's a good answer.
Bank.
Bank. You know, a lot of people say bank. Where else do people get money to start their
From
business?
their job. Loans.
Government.
Get loans, government loans, family, friends, venture capitalists,
Everywhere.
wherever. That's what finance is about. Where do we get the money to do this business? Or, you know what, we're in the delivery business. We need another car. We need another truck. How do we get that truck? That has to do with money, because money is what money does. You could say to somebody, if you give me the truck, I'll deliver the stuff to you. You want me to deliver stuff to you? Well, I need a truck to do that. If you give me the truck, you got an extra truck back there. Let me use that truck to deliver product to you. Or I need more warehouse space. Hey, you have extra warehouse space. How about if I trade product for warehouse space?
Right.
Okay, so it's not like accounting. Accounting is just counting money. Where did it come in? Where did I spend it? I spent it on payroll. I spent it on rent. I spent it on this. I spent it on that. Okay, so operations is what a business does. So if this is a pizza business, what are the operations in a pizza business?
Making pizza.
Exactly, making pizza. Okay, if it's a car wash business, what's the operations in a car wash business?
Washing cars.
Washing cars. What about carpet cleaning business? Cleaning carpet. What about a phlebotomy business? Drawn blood. Okay, we don't teach people operations because every business is different on this. Is McDonald's the same as Five Guys? Why not? They both sell hamburgers.
It's so different.
It's different.
Different products,
Okay.
different costs, different ways they
It's
make
different.
it, different everything.
It's a different thing, but it's both hamburgers, French fries, and drinks, right?
Right.
But it's way different. And do they see themselves the same?
Yeah.
If you went to their website, under the section About Us, would it say the same thing? No. So here's another tip. When you are going to get your job, you don't have one resume. You have one resume per employer. Why?
Because every job is different.
Yeah,
Someone is
even if you want to go work in fast food, even if it's Burger King versus, what's the closest thing to Burger King? Say McDonald's.
That's because we do.
That's what I would think McDonald's.
Okay. If you're going to get a job at Burger King versus McDonald's, do they think they're the same?
No.
If you went to the About Us section of their website, would it be the same?
Nope.
No. Well, why would you give them the same resume? Now, in the old days, when I was your age, when you had to use typewriters, computers first came out when I was a senior in college, in offices, when I was a senior in college. I worked for a company that didn't have computers, and I happened to work there when they brought in the word processing machines. Before that, they had these IBM Selectric typewriters. Have you ever seen those? They have a ball, and they're really cool. Instead of things coming up and striking the page, there was a ball that would turn. It was really cool.
I've seen the old ones.
Yeah.
I like the thing that strikes.
Yeah, okay, so the real cool business ones were IBM Selectrics. So I worked at a company when I was a senior in college. They had IBM Selectrics, and then it was a successful business, so they wanted to be one of the first people to buy a word processing system. They didn't even call them personal computers. All they could do was word processing. The company was called Wang. So they brought these things in, and they were just a little bit better than a typewriter. And nobody used them. Why?
Maybe they're more expensive.
No, they brought them in. They're sitting on your desk.
Oh, they didn't know how.
Yeah, they didn't know how, and they didn't have time to learn
Right.
how to do it. So all businesses, oh, my portal's being attacked. All businesses are different, even if they're the same. Why? So when I was young, you used one resume was kind of one size fits all because you had to type it. Okay? Now, how hard would it be to customize your resume for this company versus that company? How long would it take?
Select, delete.
Maybe 30 minutes. Okay? What do most people do when it comes to resumes? How many do they have?
One
One.
or two.
Maybe two. Most people have one.
Yep.
You should have one resume for every employer. And if it's not worth it to you to spend 30 minutes to customize that resume, then for a job, to get a job that you really want, then you got a problem somewhere. You want to work as a phlebotomist. You might want to work in a medical office while you're going to school to get your stuff to be a phlebotomist. You know, work your way through school. You might want to work in a phlebotomist. Well, they might ask the question, why should we hire you? But when are they going to ask that question? At the interview. What has to happen before the interview?
They have to call you. They have to choose you from the resume.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And what if they don't like your resume?
Then you're not going to ever get that question.
Okay.
Right,
So-
you'll never hear that question.
Yeah. So the resume, think of the resume as your ticket to the interview. And it has to be perfect. How long do you think they spend the first time they look at your resume?
Well, they don't like it probably at first glance.
About 6 seconds. Okay? Because what they're looking at is, does this look good? They don't care what it says. I got 400 resumes. I'm going to interview 10 people. I need to read 25 resumes. I have a stack of 400. Good jobs have about 400 people. Now the 400 don't come all in at one time. They're reading them, but the guy knows I got 400 resumes. What if I wanted to spend 10 minutes on each resume? How many minutes is that? Huh?
400?
400 resumes.
2 minutes each.
Yeah,
4,000?
4,000. Now what's 4,000 divided by 60? Well, let's figure it out. So first of all, we're going to cut that off and we're going to take that off, right? Right? You know how to do that, right, Matt? Okay. So now what? What do I do now?
How many times is 6 going to 40?
Huh?
How many times is 6 going to 40?
How many times is 6 going to 40?
6.
Good. And that equals 36, right? 66 hours. If I was going to spend 10 minutes on every resume,
That's like 3 days. Non-stop.
Right.
Non-stop. Maybe more.
okay? That's a week and a half. If I was just going to spend 10 minutes. How long would you like me to spend reading your resume? How long would you like me to spend reading your resume?
Probably like 10, 20 minutes.
Okay.
Read it with comfort.
Okay, so do you feel it's fair if I spend 6 seconds?
No.
And I say no? Sorry, we're not interested in you. I spent 6 seconds looking at your resume. Problem is when you have 400 resumes or 200 or 100 resumes, you develop these little processes and patterns to make it easier. We do it in everything we do. So you say, you know what, out of this 400 stack, there's probably 100 people who could do this job well. If we interviewed all 400, we'd probably find at least 100 who would be perfectly okay doing the job. So that's like saying, I have this target that's this big. I got 400 things I'm going to throw at the thing. I don't have to be very good at darts, right?
Right. Only 150.
Now, what if the target was like this big?
No problem.
Okay, let's say I had 20 resumes. And of the 20, I said, well, I want to interview 10, but I think there's only 2 people who can do the job. That's what this is. Now you got to be pretty good. Okay, here you got 400 resumes. 100 people are going to be able to do the job. I can spend 6 seconds deciding whether I think you're in that 100. What am I going to look for?
Keywords.
No, I have 6 seconds. What am I going to see in 6 seconds?
Neatness.
Yeah.
Organization.
Does it just look good? Is it centered properly? Are there different size fonts? Does it line up nicely? Does it look pretty? That's all I'm going to do. And the ones that have good resumes, they have different size fonts. They're using bold. Some things are underlined. They have indentations, bulleted things, different weight fonts. That's going to get my attention. What am I going to say internally in my brain? What is my brain going to say when it sees that?
They know how to use a computer.
They know how to use a computer, exactly. That's what they're going to say. So which stack is that going to go in, the yes or the no stack?
Yeah.
It's going to go in the yes. Does that mean that person is more qualified than the other person to do the job? No. What does it mean? What does it mean? Huh?
You just looked.
What it means is they did a better resume than that person. That's all it means. And what people say that are making this decision, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, they say, if you can't do your resume good, why would we want to hire you? Because this person can do the job probably just as well as you can do it. Maybe they can't do it just as well as you can do it, but at least their resume is good.
Right.
Your resume doesn't really look that good. Why would I think that you would be better at the job? Okay, so one thing, number one, to write down is different resume for each job. Okay, that's one thing. Two, different fonts, sizes, weight, so that's like bold and different weight, indentation, dot, 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 make it look pretty. Now, if you're out applying for a job, sample. So pretend this is your resume, okay? And I say to Quanah, are you serious about getting a job? Are you really committed to getting a job?
Yes.
Okay, how long have you been looking? And are you proactive? Are you out trying to get a job, or are you just when you feel like it?
I'm not looking for it.
Okay, so have you sent out many resumes?
I have.
How many?
I want to say about 10.
Okay, you think that's a lot? You've been looking in a month and you've only sent out 10 resumes? Okay, but you just said you've been doing a lot. What's going on in my brain now?
See?
Huh?
You're right. Oh, she's not being honest.
Okay. So on the interview side and in life, lesson in life, never start a relationship. What? On a what? Lie. Okay. Is going and getting a job someplace, is that a relationship? Yeah.
That's your boss.
If you get a job, you're going to spend probably as much of your waking time with those people at that job that you do with your family. Okay? Don't start a relationship out on a lie. Now, after your first answer, I was setting you up to fail.
I see that.
Okay? And I wanted you to feel like, okay, good. But all the answers you're saying in my brain, I'm saying what? Bad.
Right.
Okay? Because some people, when we do this whole game, some people say, yeah, I've been out there for a month. And I say, are you been trying to get a job? Are you proactive? Are you really trying to get a job? Yeah. You send out a lot of resumes? And I'm shaking my head this way. You send out a lot of resumes? Yeah. How many? 50. I said, do you think 50 is a lot? Yeah. Okay, so then I say, well, you don't really want to work for us, you just want a job.
So no matter what.
Exactly. Yeah.
So is that bad that you just want a job, or?
Well, it's not bad for you. I want somebody who wants to work for me.
Right.
I care about my problems. I might feel sorry for your problem. I like you. I feel sorry for you, but you know what? I'm supposed to hire, my boss told me to hire somebody who wants to work here. I don't want to lose my job for you who don't even care about working here.
Just for the job.
Yeah.
But I'm 50 applications.
Okay. So you don't want to start out on a lie. And you don't want to be looking at a lot of, you want to be, and they say, are you looking? Are you actively looking? Yeah. How many things have you gotten done? 3. 3? That doesn't sound like a lot, right? Could you hear me saying that? Did I say that? You said 10? That doesn't sound like a lot. 3.
I would say.
That doesn't sound like a lot.
I would say like 3.
Okay, so what's my answer? My answer is I really want to be a phlebotomist. So I've been doing research, and I've come down to there's 3 companies that I want to work for. You're one of them. It took me a long time to go, you know how many phlebotomists there are here? This is what I say to the person. Do you know how many phlebotomists there are? I know, because I did my research. Because I really want to do this. And you're one of the top 3 companies. Now what just happened?
Yeah.
A lot of things, but what's one thing that just happened?
If you gave them a reason to hire you, then you want to work for them.
Okay, and now what is also he thinking?
Do you really want to work here?
Like you did your
He's
research.
that too, but the other thing he's thinking, if we say no, if I say no, and you go work somewhere else, and you happen to be very good, I got to remember that I blew it. So the fact that you're really determined to do this and you really want to do it, you just got a lot more points. You just went very high up in the ranking. Now, I just said I did my research. So what is going to, the effect on my resume going to be if I did a lot of research? Different resumes. Because I'm going to go to this company, this phlebotomy company. I'm trying to think of the big lab that does a lot of that. They've got offices all over. Drawing. Do you know the name?
Quest.
Quest. Okay. So I go to their About section. I copy it and paste it into a document. And then I highlight keywords that they use in theirs compared to other labs. We're really family oriented, or we really believe in technology, or whatever. And what do I put in my resume when I describe myself?
Family oriented.
I use the words that are important to them. Okay, if I want to work for them. Okay, so part of the reason Larson has such a high placement rate is we have what's called employment planning workshop, which takes about 6 weeks. The first week, you're figuring out, what do I want to do? What do I want to do that I can't tell the difference between its work or its pleasure? I could do this all day long. I can't wait to come in on Mondays. In fact, I like taking my work home because I love doing it. That's called a calling. I love this so much. If I didn't need the money, I'd do it for free. Can you imagine a job like that? Can you imagine, what do you like to do?
Let's be a psychologist.
What do you like doing? Because you're not a psychologist right now. What is it you like to do?
I like this one.
Okay.
Hunting out my family.
Hunting your family?
Hanging out with my family.
Oh, hanging out with them. Okay. So I have a daughter who just graduated from high school. She joined the Navy instead of going to spend money to go to college, go in debt to go to college. But her job during the summer is teaching swim lessons. She's in the pool all the time with little kids teaching them how to swim. Would that be fun for you?
No.
Okay. So the first week at Larson, it's figuring out what would you do if you can't tell the difference between work and play. If somebody said, here's what you're going to do, you're not going to get paid, but you don't need money. Again, you don't need money. What would you want to do if you could do it for free? You certainly wouldn't want to do it. Most people end up having jobs that say, I'd love to quit this job, but I can't afford to quit. That's life for most people. So this is a job you take money out of the equation and say, would you do it? There's one level that's higher than a calling. It's called a destiny. That's where you pay to do it. I love this so much, I pay to do it. That's like homeschool mothers that spend money because they love being in the classroom with their kids so much. They'll buy cookies and they'll buy this and they'll drive kids around and they're always going to go do that. Okay, that's called a destiny thing. You will pay to do it. You love doing it so much you pay to do it. Okay, so that's week number 1. So let's write that down. What do I want to do? And money should not be part of the equation. You shouldn't say, I want to do it because I can make a lot of money. Did you know what's going to happen? You're going to end up not being happy with the money you're making. It's called hedonic adaptation. That's like, you ever have a song on the radio you like, and then you don't like it anymore?
Yes.
Okay, that's called hedonic adaptation. The same thing happens with work. If you say, I want this job because I'm going to make a lot of money, and you get that job, you're going to be looking for a job that's going to make even more money, because you're going to find out you weren't happy just because you got money. Okay. Number 2, the second week is find 3 to 5 employers that do that. We had somebody say, I like shopping. I like going to the shopping mall, and I like just walking around in the mall. Can you picture somebody saying that?
Yeah.
Okay. I just love doing that. When I'm not having to work, and it's the weekend, when I could do anything I want, and I'm not getting paid, I go to the shopping mall because I like it. And I said to her, do you think there's any jobs that would pay you to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, like what?
Like you could go shopping for other people.
Okay.
Like a personal designer.
Okay, that's true, but that's not a good answer. Very low probability. What's
I think of an advertised person, like somebody who like walks around and can like talk to you. And
okay?
come
All right, there's jobs that are called secret shoppers. Companies pay you just to go around in the stores watching what people are doing. You know, we sell, let's say it's Victoria's Secret. They want to see, well, that's not a good example. Let's say it's Kohl's. You know, both know Kohl's? Okay, Kohl's. Where they have a lot of different manufacturers stuff in there, right? And so companies will hire secret shoppers just to watch people that come over and touch their clothes and see what people say privately about it when they don't think anybody's listening. Or they'll be standing there holding a sweater, and somebody who's a stranger will walk up and they say, what do you think? Do you think the sweater would look good on me? That's called market research. And then you start engaging that person. What color do you buy? Well, why are you in Kohl's? You come here a lot? And the person's talking to you thinking that you're just another person. They don't know that that's your job. And they get paid good money. And people who like doing that love it. Because their attitude about people is, you're not a stranger, you're just a friend I haven't met yet. So you're going to pay me to go make friends
Right.
in stores?
Right.
This is
Okay.
their opinions.
Okay, yeah. So you find 3 to 5 companies that do that. The third week is to research. You research these companies. How do you research? How? Computer what?
Google.
You just say computer, tell me.
Like Google,
Okay, Google. What else?
their website.
Website. What else? Social media, right?
Mhm.
Facebook, Twitter. What
I
else?
guess that companies like have social media.
Yeah, they all have their own pages now. What else?
You know, like your computers.
Now, what other research do you do on the computer?
Oh, computer.
Have you ever heard of this thing called YouTube?
Ah.
Okay. Instagram, all of that stuff. So you research the company. To what level? How much research?
How much you can get.
No, that's too vague. It's very simple. I want to research this company so that I know that company. Then who? The interviewer. My goal is, I don't know who the interviewer is, but my goal is, I want to know about this company more than you know about this company. What if you're sitting in an interview and you know more about the company than the interviewer? How's the interviewer going to think?
You feel like you know the job.
Well, they could feel good or bad. They
Yeah.
could feel you're a stalker,
Right.
right?
Like, oh, you're not taking my job.
No, because they know you're there for that job, and this is
Right,
an
right.
HR job, so you don't have to worry about that. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that you know more about this company because you told them, this is what I really want to do, and I've done my research. If you know them better than they know, if you know the company better than they know it, are they going to think you did your research? Yeah, because you just proved it, because you know the company better than they do. So what are some of the kind of things that you want to know about the company?
When you started.
Yeah, the history. You want to know about the history. You want to know the key people. You want to know stuff like that. When they say, well, why do you want to work here? You want to have an answer that's not just like, well, I'm a fun person. I work hard. I'm loyal. Because everybody says that. So it doesn't mean anything, right? If everybody drove black Hyundais that were the same model and everything was the same, how would people feel about their cars? Would they name their car? Would people have, do you have a car? You have a car? Does your grandmother name her car?
Yes.
See, if everybody had the same exact car, would anybody name their car? No. Okay. Why are cars different? Because people want them that way. So if you give the same answer as everybody else, is it going to mean anything? No. So I can assure you, if they ask you the question, why do you want to work here? And you say, because I'm going to make you more money than anyone else. No one else is going to say that. And they're going to remember it. Okay, now, for Lorinda, you're not going to say, because I'm going to make you more money.
I am until I start college.
Well, a social worker.
Right.
Yeah, if you're working in a place, you're not going to say to a place like this, why should we hire you? Because I'm going to make more money. I'm going to make you more money
But it's not a problem.
than anyone else. You're going to want to say something like, because I'm going to help people more than anyone else that's applying for this job. Because that's what they're in the business of doing, according to you, is helping people, right? Because I'm going to do a better job of helping people than anyone else. 2 things businesses care about. What are they?
Money.
Make money and save money. Businesses care about 2 things, making money and saving money. That's what they care about. Okay, so week 3, you did your research. You know that company better than they know the company, the interviewer. And the interviewer is not, unless they've been there for a long time, they're not really going to know much about the company. So one of your jobs, when you're just chit-chatting in the beginning, is to find out how long that person's been there. So how would you do that? How? Let's role play. Hi, you're here for the interview.
Just ask them.
You just say, how long have you been here? Hi, my name's Lorenda. How long have you worked here? You just walked in the door. I said, hi, how are you? You need to know right away how long they've been there. Because if the guy says, I just started 6 months ago, are they going to know a lot about the company? No. If they've been there 20 years, are they going to know a lot? So in your inventory of knowing a lot, if a guy's only been there 6 months, and it's going to be pretty easy probably to know more than they know. If the person's been there 20 years, you might have to really think about some obscure facts, things that you learned, to get them to say, oh yeah, you really do know a lot. Okay, so you need to know how long they've been there. You need to find that out like in the first minute. How do you do that?
I don't know. I would like talk to them first and then ask
Okay,
questions.
you got 1 minute. Hi, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm well.
I don't know. That's tricky.
It's not tricky.
I would like her, I'm just ask, like, I'm just like a standard person, like, how long have you worked here?
Okay. That's kind of like a weird question to ask somebody just out of the blue. Hi, yeah, thanks for interviewing me. How long have you worked here? So here's what you do. Okay.
That's why I'm like, where you from?
Here's what you need to think of when you're in your interview. We're still on the resume part, but we're going to skip ahead. Write this down. 5:55. How long does it take for people to start forming judgments and making opinions?
1 second.
First couple seconds. Okay. So this 5 means the first 5 seconds. So in your interview, in the first 5 seconds, certain things have to happen. A lot of things are going to be going on. Don't think in 5 seconds, not a lot's going to go on. A lot's going to be going on. You need to, when you go walk in the door, right before you walk in the door, what you need to say is 5:55. 5:55. You need to get your brain thinking about those things. The first 5 seconds, the next what?
50 minutes.
50 seconds.
The last 5 seconds.
The last 5 minutes, the next 5 minutes. By that point, 5 minutes into it, they have a good idea of whether they like you or not. It's about how long it takes. If they like you, it might continue. If they don't like you, it probably will continue because they want to just make sure they're making the right decision. I formed my opinion. Now I'm going to look for facts to support why I decided this person is, we don't want this person. I'm going to let her bury herself. So in the first 5 seconds, this is where you walk in, you shake hands, and you say, wow, you look at the office, and what you're doing is you're looking around. What are the things in here that are interesting? What do they tell me about this person? Okay, what kind of clothes are they wearing? Okay, do they have any personal stuff here? Or is it just business stuff? You can learn a lot in 5 seconds. That's what you do. In this 50-second period of time, what I typically say when I'm out selling, in this case, what are you selling when you're in an interview?
Yourself.
Yourself. Okay? So when I'm selling, I almost always say, wow, this is a cool place. How long have you been here? How did you feel about that? No.
You just ask.
I didn't just ask.
It was just that simple, though.
I just didn't say, hi, how long have you worked here? Why? Why do you want to know?
Right.
Yes, sir.
But I said, hey, this is a cool place. How long have you been here?
It's giving you more of a
Reason why you're asking.
I'm telling them the reason. Because I'm saying this is cool. Oh, I have a dog too. I'm bonding them, right?
Right.
At the end of the day, people want to hire people they like. If you are both equally qualified, but I don't really like you, who's going to get the job? Okay. If you're slightly more qualified, but I don't like you, who's going to get the job? Right. Okay. At the end of the day, it's who they like. And this, they like this person. Okay, why are we doing an interview? I like this person.
The face to it.
Because I need to see if this is you. Maybe you had, yeah, exactly. Maybe somebody wrote this resume for you. How am I going to know whether somebody wrote the resume for you?
See if you know the resume.
What do you mean?
Ask questions.
Like what?
Oh, I see you did accounting. How long were you accounting for? Or
So
what did you do?
I'm going to say you were right here on the target with that shot. Okay. Here's what they really do. Okay. Because you can't say to people, did you write this resume? What if you didn't write it? What are you going to probably say?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to lie.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not going to bother asking you, did you write it? Because if you're not truthful, you're going to tell me, yes, you wrote it. If you are truthful, you're going to tell me what?
No,
Yes. No, you're going to tell me, yes, you wrote it. If you wrote it, and you're telling the truth, if you wrote it, you're going to say yes.
Right.
Okay, nobody who wrote it's ever going to say no. If you didn't write it, you're either going to say yes or no, right? So 2 of the 3 situations, you're going to say yes, and very few people that get into an interview are going to say, no, I didn't write my resume.
Right.
Because this is who they like. Okay, so here's what they're going to do. It's kind of like what Lorinda was saying. That's why she's here, but not in the bullseye. Here's what they're going to say is, tell me about this job here. And they're going to say the date. You know, this job you had from this date to this date. Tell me about this job. And they're going to point to it on the resume. Because they want you to see they're talking about a specific thing. Okay, and you're going to say what?
Well, I worked at the housing authority for this long, and when I was at the housing.
Okay, wait. That's not what it says right here. Now, if you didn't write your resume, what are you going to look like? What's the expression on your face going to be? Busted.
Right.
It doesn't? Huh? Oh, I thought it said that. Huh?
Right.
Now, what if you did write it? What's the expression on your face going to be?
Like, you have the wrong document?
Exactly. Like, what? What do you mean it doesn't say that? They want to see whether you wrote the resume. They can't just ask you, so they're going to try to trick you. That's not what this says. Okay? So that's why you want to write your own resume, not have somebody else do it. But if you did your research and you have a different resume for everybody, do you think you're going to know what the resume says? You're going to know it because you spent a lot of time working on it. Okay? Have either of you heard of Zappos? Company?
Is that a pin? Sounds familiar, but right.
Well, there's the Zippo lighter, but this is Zappos.
Okay.
They sell shoes over the internet.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, the $34.99.
Okay?
That's Zappos.
I don't know. They're downtown. It's an internet company. It's owned by Amazon now. When they hire an executive or a director level person, that they fly in, say, okay, we'll pick you up at the airport. We're going to have you come in. We're going to take you on a tour, have some interviews, have some meetings, go to lunch, have some more interviews, group stuff, and then we're going to bring you back to the airport. And then we'll talk tomorrow. Okay, cool. So what they want to do is really wear you down. So they pick you up at the airport, they bring you, have a couple meetings, go on this tour, a couple more meetings, go have lunch, everybody's nice and polite. And then they say, okay, I'll walk you out to our guys at the shuttle drivers downstairs. I'll walk out to the shuttle with you. And they put you on the shuttle. And they take you to the airport. What does Amazon do, or Zappos do next?
Talk about it.
No. They wait for the driver to come back.
To see
Why?
plane, to see if you're like tired.
Why? Why would they wait for the driver to come back?
To talk to them.
Okay, what would they want to know?
How did you react? Because normally, like, people talk in the back of, like, taxis and they don't really
Were you nervous?
Yeah.
When you're here on the interview, you're on your best behavior. When you get in that shuttle on the way back, we got you really tired, and we've trained that driver to ask you questions, to kind of bond with you. So thinking you might let your guard down and we're going to see the real you. Because we can't know the real you just because you flew in and we had this interview. Could you be pretending for one day?
Yeah.
Could you be a real bad person to pretend you're polite and nice and a team player? Yeah, you could do that for a day. But if we get you really, really tired and we put you in this van on the way back and you feel relaxed and safe, and the driver's a nice, non-threatening person, not really smart, probably not going to understand half the stuff you say anyway, is what you think. You're just some kind of guy who's not really a homeless guy, but he could be a homeless guy, but he's not because the staff was hired him. Okay? And he says, hey, how are you? Yeah, where are you from? Oh, yeah, okay, good. What time's your flight? And they just start chit-chatting, and they come back and they say, what was the guy like? Was he polite to you, or did he talk down to you? Because we want people that are friendly team players. What did he say when you said, yeah, I drive people back to the airport all the time. Boy, people are really tired. Most people tell me that it was really tiring. It was really a comprehensive day. What did he say to that? Did he say, yeah, I've never worked that hard in the last 10 years?
Right.
Okay? Or did he say, you know what, that was really pleasant. That was, usually my days have much more mental pressure. This was a lot of fun. I like these guys. Everybody there's cool. Okay? So in the first 50 seconds, you need to start building that kind of rapport. Who are you? Where are you from? What do you like? Bonding stuff. And they'll let you get away with that for the first 50 seconds before the interview starts. Because what do you think they're doing? Yeah, that's called sizing you up. Okay? We're sizing you up. Are we going to buy a wedding dress or are we going to buy a coffin for you? Okay? We need to know which. And this is the last 5 minutes. And this is where you have to persuade them. You're selling yourself. I'm going to do better than everyone else. I really want this job because this is what I want to do. This is what I really want to do. So he said, well, why would you want to be a phlebotomist?
Blood is interesting to me.
Why is blood interesting? It's cool.
It is cool. I don't know, I did like a research on phlebotomy and I did a whole project about it. And phlebotomy is really interesting.
Okay, well, you have to be able to articulate it more than saying it's really cool. Okay, why is it cool?
My research on that.
See, I was saying, I don't, my mom just brought me, I don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
I would just be like, oh, I like the science of spinning the blood, watching it separate, testing each, different tubes. Well, that's actually the medical assistant of the phlebotomy. But, when you take the blood, you have to interact with the clients, talk to them, make them feel comfortable. Just say, like, okay. I enjoy being around it.
Well, you have to really articulate why. If you're going to say, this is something I really want to do. Okay, now you could say, I really want to be a research, blood diseases. But I believe you have to start at the bottom. And I've done my research, and there's 3 companies I want to work with for that I think will help my career the most. Now, what's the guy thinking? Well, you're not going to be here for 20 years, but while you are, but most of our people aren't anyway, or the ones that are, we wish they weren't. Okay? But while you're here, can we count on you doing the best job that you can do? Maybe, if what you're telling me is true. If you really want to be involved in blood research, if you really want to be involved in that, you think it's just fascinating. I remember the first time I saw blood under a microscope. And I'm just making this up, but this is the kind of thing I would say. I would do my research and I would say that if I wanted to do that. It's just the miracle of life. And I was talking to this guy this week, and he said he went to a special doctor and they measure how much yeast is in your blood. And they say yeast is bad because yeast lives on what? Sugar. So if you have a lot of yeast in your blood, it's basically compelling you to have sweet food. And what happens if you eat a lot of sugar? A lot of bad stuff. Okay, a lot of stuff that's bad. So, and I'd start, I would do exactly what I just did, but I would have research behind me, and I would talk about, and what I'm trying to do is persuade them, I really, really do want to do this job. And what are they looking for? People who what?
Make money and save money.
Make them money and save them money. If you really want to do this job, you're probably not going to make mistakes. People are going to like you. You're going to make us money. And back to the swimming thing. With my daughter, the place where she works, because she likes doing what she's doing, she's not doing it for the money, the owner of the place said, you know what, Catherine? All of these parents want you to teach their kids. Everybody's asking for you to teach the kids. Oh, and by the way, these 2 people brought in these envelopes for you. What was in the envelope?
Job offers?
No. A little card from the kid and $20 from the parents as a tip. Because she likes doing it. She's not doing it for the money. She wants the money. But it wasn't, well, this job sucks, but they're paying me. But you don't want that. Okay. So, we finished the first hour. Did that seem like a long time?
We've already been here for hours.
Yep.
Learned
Yeah.
a lot in that hour.
Right,
Huh?
me too.
I learned a lot in that hour.
Okay, next step. I did my research. The 4th thing is I create a plan. Who do I go to first? When do I go there? When is the date I want my job by? I create a plan. And there's a couple of things to know about a plan. One thing to know about a plan is no plan survives contact with the enemy. So what do you need to have?
Plan B.
A backup plan, yeah, plan B. So part of your plan means you have to have a backup plan. And the backup plan is step 6. Okay, but we're going to go to 5 first, but you have a plan. Now, what I didn't say about Larson, where the school is, I did say we have an 85% placement rate, right? We have the highest placement rate in the state of Nevada.
That means 85% of the kids that go there get jobs out.
Well, it's post-secondary, so not kids, but students. You have to be 18 to go there. 85% get employment. Okay, it's a very good thing. What I didn't say is who our students are. So if I said our students came from Bishop Gorman, what would that mean? Would that be really impressive? 85% of the students from Bishop Gorman got jobs? Why?
Because it's a good school.
Yeah.
People there that were rich. So.
Okay, so that wouldn't be very impressive, right?
Right.
Okay? Our students are in prison. The classroom I teach in is inside the prison. Our students are locked up, they're felons. They are at the prison on Russell Road in Valley View. Did you know there's a prison there?
I can't
Yeah.
tell.
You're
really serious?
serious?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, that's great
like,
because a lot of people don't like to hire fellas.
Well, that's not true, that's what people think.
Right.
So that's where I teach, inside the prison. We have other campuses that are not in the prison, and the students are either were in prison, were in jail, they live at Catholic Charities, live at Salvation Army, live at Shade Tree, live at some kind of shelter. So if I say 85% of those people get employed, what does that mean? That's impressive, right? If you can get a Vietnam vet who hasn't had a job for a long time employed, or somebody who's in prison employed, everybody else is easier, right?
That's 15.
Who's harder than a guy who's in prison? Everybody else is pretty much easier, because it's not just what skills do you have, it's can I trust you?
Right.
And you're in prison because you demonstrated you can't be trusted to obey the laws of society. Yeah, but I learned my lesson. Well, maybe you have, maybe you haven't. So most people think people don't hire ex-felons. And it's true. Some people don't hire ex-felons. And some jobs you can't be an ex-felon. But what nobody hires, adults, nobody hires people who don't have skills. And most people that are in prison don't have skills. Instead of going and learning how to do a job, they learned how to sell drugs, or steal cars, or do some other stuff. That's what they did. That's what got them in prison, because they didn't have a job. So when I talk to people, and they get out of prison, they can't get a job, and they're hungry, and they're starving, they can't get any social, any WIC or SNAP or any of that stuff, because they went to prison for drugs, so they don't qualify. And they're starving, and they see, oh, there's a car, and there's money, or there's something I can trade for food. I'm going to break into that car because I want food. I'm not trying to sell the car. I'm not trying to steal the car. I'm starving. And those people left something there. So this cycle gets started, and that's called recidivism. So that's what I do. Now, as I said, we don't teach people, we help them learn. So we give this system, and somebody comes in, let's say he's a guy in prison, he's just all tatted out, sleeve, tattoos everywhere. Where can he get a job?
Anywhere?
Where?
Anywhere?
No, not necessarily, but one place he probably can get a job is to go into a tattoo parlor and say, hey, how about if I go sell? Will you give me 15% commission for everybody I bring in here? You don't have to pay me except commission. Do you think the tattoo parlor is going to say no?
Yeah.
Why would they say no? The guy's got tattoos all over the place. Obviously, he loves tattoos, right? He's not going to cost us any money. He doesn't bring in anybody. What's going to happen? How much does it cost us? Nothing. We don't have anything to lose. Well, what do you want from us? Well, I need some pictures or something. Because, you know, my tattoos aren't as good as your tattoos. But I can sell, these are tattoos versus these tattoos. You like tattoos? You know, go if you like tattoos, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, well, hey, right over there is this tattoo parlor. Okay. So you have a plan. 5 is you execute. You execute the plan. A lot of people create a plan and then they don't do it. And step 6 is get a job to pay the bills till one of these things comes in.
I didn't really understand the plan
Okay.
part.
So I've done my research.
Right.
Okay, now what? I have 3 separate resumes. I have 3 companies. I have 3 separate resumes. I've done my research on these 3 companies. Now what? Huh?
How do you plan on getting it? Is that what you're like?
Well, I have these things here. So the plan is, now what? It's the answer to the question, now what? Submit, okay, well, who do I submit to all 3 of them at the same time? Or do I want to put one out, see what happens? Do I go to the company's website in the jobs section? And they don't have a job for a phlebotomist, but they have a job for a janitor. Is it a viable strategy to say, just get me in that company?
Yeah,
If I'm in the company, I have a better chance of getting to be a phlebotomist than if I'm outside saying, would you please hire me? Okay, that's part of the plan. Are there other jobs that I can get hired for that they're doing it right now? Because part of the plan, part of this whole thing is it's proactive, not reactive. See, what everybody else does is you get a resume and you find out who's hiring, right? That's called reactive. They just threw the hook in the water. You're one of 400 fishes trying to get the bait. That's not really a good strategy, right? Okay, a better strategy is you find the place you want to work and you give them a reason why they should hire you. And guess what good companies are always looking for?
Good employees.
Good employees, which is people who want to work there that are skilled.
Right.
Okay? So if you're good, you don't need to wait till they're hiring. You can say, I want to be a phlebotomist. Well, we don't have any openings for phlebotomists. Well, I really, really want to be a phlebotomist. And here's why I think you should hire me. Or you might find out that it's not a phlebotomist position, it's a lab cleaning position. And you say, well, I'll go for that. And then once I'm there,
Keep me in mind for that.
when they hire, who do they always want to hire first?
From inside.
From inside.
You move up.
Okay? So I really want to be a phlebotomist. I want to be a phlebotomist, but you know what? I just really want to work for that company. And in doing phlebotomy would be great. And one day I will. So that's what the plan is. Okay, I've done here's the companies I want to work for. Could be 3 to 5 companies. Here's the companies I want to work for. Here's the ranking of all 5. This is my first one. If I had to rank them, here's number 1, here's 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, well, part of the plan is, do you go to number 1 first? And if you don't get a job with number 1, do you try for number 2? And if you don't get a job for 2, do you try for 3? Or do you maybe say, well, let me start with 3 because I'm going to learn a lot. I know the second interview I go on, I'm going to do better than the first interview. I know I'm going to do better in my second interview than my first interview. So do I really want to blow my first one with my favorite company? So are you getting what the plan is all about now? There's a lot of strategy involved in it. Okay? Now let's say I go on my interview and I say I'm going to go for company number 3. I go there and I did all of this perfectly and they said, when can you start? Now what?
Let's start now.
That was company number 3. You haven't even talked to 2 or 1 yet.
Oh.
That was your third choice. You decide I'm going to go there first because I know my second interview I'm going to do better than my first interview. So I don't want to waste my...
I'd probably just be honest. Well, I would say well, I have another interview. I get back to you. I don't know. I've never been in that type of
Well,
situation.
this is part of the plan.
Right.
Guess what? You will be in that situation if you do what I say. If you do this, you will be in that position. If you convince them you really want to do this, and you know more about that company than they know, do you think anyone else applying for the job is going to do the same thing? Not unless they went to Larson. Okay, but no, probably not. Okay? So you should think if they're really going to be hiring somebody, you're one of the top 2 people. So you should consider, if I go for number 3, I will probably get it. I might get it. But I haven't talked to number 2 or 1 yet. So you have to say something like this. I can start in 30 days. If your plan is now, because I'm going to go see number 2 and number 1 within that 30-day period. So I want to have this as my backup now. Number 3 is my backup. I've got a bird in hand. I still want to try to get a job at number 1 or 2. Yeah.
Will they ever like give your job away if you like say in like 30 days? You think they'll find a request for you
They might.
and like doing it?
They might.
But if they really like.
So if they say this, okay, we will hold the position open for 30 days. So you're going to start in 30 days. So we are not going to hire people in 30 days. For 30 days, we are not going to hire anybody. But you're going to be starting on August 21st, right? Right. Okay, now you just made a promise. In the law business, you have a verbal contract. They've made an offer to you that's conditional upon a start date, and you've accepted the offer. So if they then all of a sudden send you an email back 2 days later saying, you know what, we changed our mind, well, you could take them to court, you might win. It just depends on whether you can convince the judge that you had a valid contract and a couple of things. But basically, you could win. If you did your research and it's a good company, they wouldn't do that. Okay, they're not just going to do that. They're not going to say, okay, we're going to hold the job open for you. I'm going to stop interviewing people and really not stop and do it. You shouldn't think that's going to happen if it's a good company. And you might have had to research 30 companies to get it down to these 3 to 5. Okay? The bigger question is, how do I handle it if I say I'll start in a month? One of the other jobs says yes. How do I handle if I made you a promise I'm going to start in 30 days?
Good job, do both.
No, you can't do both.
You tell
Okay.
them.
So you don't start a relationship on a lie. So number 1, if they say, we're making you an offer and you're going to start on this date, then you can't say yes if you're going to be going after 1 or 2, right? Because what did you just do?
Lie.
You lied. It's your backup. So things work out in the law and things work out in life if you set reasonable expectations and you tell the truth. Okay, well, here's where we are. I told you I have it down to 3 companies. You're the first company I went to. And I could see myself working here. I like working here. But, you know, if you're putting me in a position of either I say yes now, I don't have any time. It's either yes right now or no right now. If you're putting me in that position, it kind of makes it easy for me because the company I did my research on doesn't do that. You probably don't have the guts to say that, right? It would be a lot easier to lie, right? And say, okay, I'll start in 30 days, and then call them up later and say, what? I changed my mind, basically, right? Okay, that's easier to do than to be honest with people. Sometimes you have to do things that are painful or not pleasant. You can't just say, I'm going to do whatever feels good to me and is easy for me and doesn't put me under pressure. But if you say to somebody, if they say, when can you start? The first question you have to say is, are you making me an offer? What a lot of people say is tomorrow. Okay, good. I just wanted to know. I just want to know. I'm not offering you a job. So you need to find out, are you offering me a job? Now, what do you think they're going to think about you if you say, are you offering me a position? They're going to think higher or lower of you? Higher. They're going to think higher of you. You've now flipped it again, right? Who's back in control? You are. Because they said, when can you start? Are you offering me a position?
So what if they tell you we'll call you in a couple of days?
Okay, well, let's stay with they say, when can you start?
Okay.
Let's stick with that one first, then we'll go to the one where they don't say, when can you start? When can you start? Are you offering me a position? No, I'm not offering you a position. I just want to know. Oh, well, I'm looking for a job. I told you there's 3 companies that I'm going to deal with, and you're the first one I met. But I want to get started right away. That's all truthful, right? I want to get started right away. I told you there's 3 companies. I really want to do this business. I really want to be a phlebotomist. And I told you it's you or 2 other companies. And what if they say, well, who are the other 2? Do you tell them? Yeah. You tell them.
What if they know they're competitors?
Then they might want you even more.
Right.
Because they don't want you to go there. And if you say it's these 3, you, these guys in here, they say, yeah, those are our 2 best competitors. We're the 3 best companies.
Exactly.
So you didn't give me the name of a company that's a lousy company. So now you're even more valuable because you really have done your research. You know who the 3 best companies are. And do I want to lose you to them? Probably not. And they say, well, you know what? What does it take to get you to not interview with them?
Offering a position.
Okay. Maybe, let's talk about it. What does it take to get you to stop interviewing and just come work for us? What does it take? This is all how it really works out in life if you're prepared. This is how it goes down. This isn't fantasy island. This is, if you do this kind of things, this is the kind of thing that happens. What does it take to get you to not interview with someone else? Because if they want you, do you think they're going to want you to go somewhere else? Think of as athlete, professional athletes make these millions of dollars. They have agents, right? And a team says, we want your guy. Do you think it would be unreasonable for them to say, what does it take to get your guy to play here? No.
That's the first thing that they're asking.
What does it take to get you here? So if they like you, they're going to say, what does it take to get you here? And they haven't made an offer yet because you haven't told them what it takes. So the other thing you always have to do when you're negotiating in an interview for a job where they are going to hire you is you have to always ask for something more. If they say we'll pay you $10 an hour, even if you really wanted $7.75 and they say we'll offer you 10, you have to say, well, I need something more.
I need 12.
Not necessarily money. Okay, you can say, I want to have a performance review every 60 days. Or I want to be able to go to lunch at this time. Or I want to do this. Or I want to be able to be involved in company training for other things because I really want to keep doing things. You have to ask for something more because what happens when you do that? How do they feel?
I think you really want to work here.
They feel good about you. Okay, and they feel that they're now going to get the best deal possible. But let's say they say to you, we'll offer you 10. And you say, I'll take it. I was only hoping to get $7.75. How are they going to feel?
Like they overstep themselves.
Yeah, they're going to say, shoot. And they're not going to be happy. Okay? So when people go back and forth fighting for things, not necessarily fighting, but working it out, they feel like, okay, you know what, I feel good about that. You brought up some good things.
I feel like they want to, if you want something more, they give you less.
in a business that's a different type of education, teaches people to be entrepreneurs. It's called SNAP. He's the guy who started Chuck E. Cheese, and he started Atari, the game company, named Noel Bushnell. He told me with his job, one of his first jobs, after getting out of college, he wanted this. They offered him this. But he said, well, I also need this. They offered him more than he was willing to take. But he said, I can't just say yes, because then they're not going to feel like they could have offered me less. So he said, I need this. And they said, okay. And he said, and I need a car. If they would have said no, you would have said, okay. But what do you think they said? Yeah. So part of your plan is also, what is your compensation package? What are the money things and the not money things? You know, what's the company's policy on paying for school? What's the internal training policy? What's the policy they have for when new jobs are offered to people? You know, you find out all those things and you say, you know, these are things I want to negotiate. And some may say no, and some may say yes. Okay. So you have your plan, you execute the plan. Now, but your question was, if you're done with the interview and they say, okay, we'll call you. Okay, what should you say? What would you think?
Well, that just happened to me recently, and I said, is there anything to put me above any of the other people that were applying for this job? Is there anything that I could do? You know, just like no.
Okay, so when you don't get the job, one of the things that you can do, if you don't feel you got the job, when you shake hands to say goodbye, you don't let go until they answer your question of what could I have done, what do I need to do to improve so I will get hired here in the future? And you don't let go. They're going to tell you right away. Okay, but if you're holding your hand, their hand, and you ask the question, they're going to tell you. If you say, what could I do better? They're going to say, no, everything's fine. But if you're holding their hand, they're going to answer just as fast, and they're going to tell you, well, you know, I think you need a little bit more experience, or I think you need this, or I asked you this, and you know, they're going to tell you. But you want to say, you want them to basically believe, I'm going to come back. What do I need to do to improve to be able to become employed here? What do I need to do? And they might say something like, you know what? The next time we probably will hire you. It's just the person I think we're going to hire has more skills. That's okay. You shouldn't feel bad about that. You did the best you could do, but somebody was better. You know, what you would feel bad about it is you go in and you're not prepared. But that's the reason it's 3 to 5 companies, not 1. Okay, this is why you want to be 3 to 5 companies. So what you ultimately do is you then go get a job just to pay the bills. So when I was in law school, what do you think a lot of guys did for work when they were in law school? No.
No. I would say go do internships at law.
Nope. Some people did. Those are people who worked for a lawyer and decided they wanted to become a lawyer. But that's not really a good strategy because you get burned out. You know, if you work in a law firm during the day and you go to law school at night, your brain just can't adjust. Get burnt out. But you're a smart guy. You have a college degree and you're in law school, so you're pretty smart. So what kind of job would you want to do to kind of get refreshed and, you know, get refreshed again? What would you want to do? Okay, well, a lot of guys are bartenders that go to law school. say you own a bar, and a guy says, look, I'm going to law school during the day, I need a job. At night, you're going to law school, so you're pretty smart, right? You can handle money, you can learn to make these drinks. Lawyers talk to people. What happens if bartenders talk to people, good or bad, usually? Good, right. Get people to drink more, okay? You're going to law school, you're probably not going to steal from me, okay? Or if you were a thief, you wouldn't be working in law school, in a bar. You might want to work in like a jewelry store, okay? Because you want to be clever and figure out how to get away with the perfect crime. So a lot of guys that are in law school, they work in a bar. And they're bartenders. Now, how does it make you feel as a guy going to law school and working in a bar at night? Is there a lot of mental challenge to doing that? No. Why do people go to bars?
Socialize, get away.
Okay, why do people go to work? Because they need to, right? Money. Why do people go to a bar? Because they want to. They want to have a good time. So if I'm working in a bar as a bartender, everybody's coming here because they want to have a good time, that's pretty cool, right? So here, you're working these things. It might take a year to get the position you want. But in the meantime, you got to pay the bills. So when it comes to this, the things you think of for the job is, what kinds of jobs have I done? What's a job that's near my house? What's a job that I don't have to do a lot of learning? And I tell them, here's what I really want to do. I want to be a phlebotomist. And I'm doing it with Quest and these other two labs. Got interviews that I'm following that. And I will do my best here until one of those things comes in. Restaurant, convenience store, telemarketing, they're used to turnover anyway. They're not going to say you're a good worker and you're telling us that you're not going to last. We already know people don't really last in telemarketing, but people don't tell us that. You're telling us that when one of these things comes in, you're going to leave, but you're being upfront and honest. So great. Okay, so that's what we do.
I like that.
Okay, this is a simple plan starting with what do you want to do. Too many people start their careers with who will hire me. I need money, who will hire me? And then they start down this path and they get in that position and they learn more and they get some promotions and they get up to this level over a long period of time. Let's say this is 5 years. You worked up to this position here. You don't like it. It's not what you really wanted to do. You're at this position, you don't really like it. But if it's any other job, your pay goes back down to here because you don't have any skills. Are most people going to leave this job? No. They get trapped. Why? Because way back here, they just said, who will hire me? And believe me, time goes by fast. 20 years goes like that. This is only 5 years. That goes like that. It's like a blink of an eye. 5 years. So you started with the job you didn't really like. You just liked money. You needed money. And you got some raises and promotions, but you don't really have any skills because you're not educated. You don't have any other experience. This was your first job. So people get trapped into doing this. If you do this, and you have a job to pay your bills, and you get into this and you find out, you know what, I don't really want to be a phlebotomist. What can you now do? You go do this all over again. And you go back to this. Or you say, you know what, where I am now, that's this. This now went from a calling or a career, calling or a destiny position to a job. So now I got to start this process over again. And I have to do what I have to do. I might have to go to school to learn how to do this other thing. Okay, so that's that. Now, let's talk about something important. Let's talk about the future. So when I grew up, there were no cell phones, no microwaves, no cable TV. There was none. They didn't exist. It's not like we didn't have them. Nobody had them. When I was a little kid, there were no zip codes. Can you imagine that? There were no area codes. When I was a little kid, our phone number was Victor 65110. It wasn't just numbers. Here, it used to be just numbers up until about 4 years ago, right? Somebody said, what's your phone number? Nobody said 702, right? Because everybody's phone number was 702. Do you remember that?
I do.
Okay.
Now you have to say 702.
Yeah, now you have to. Okay? Oops. So now you have to, but when I was growing up, you didn't. When I was growing up, if an airplane was in the sky, somebody would say, look, there's an airplane, because they were very rare. Now you go outside anytime you can see an airplane, right? Microwaves, smartphones, all that, internet, computers. When I was a kid, the only place they had computers were at big labs and universities and big businesses. They didn't have personal computers. Very different world. People didn't have cable TV. Everybody had antennas, really tall antennas up on their roof, not satellite dishes. Very different world. Cars didn't have seatbelts. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? Cars did not have seatbelts in them. Yeah. There was no ding, ding, ding if you didn't fasten your seatbelt. There were no seatbelts. People used to drink in their cars all the time. There was no MAD. The guy who started Federal Express, before Federal Express got successful, before Federal Express got started, he was going to go to jail because he inherited a lot of money. He ran out of the money he inherited, so he started forging his sister's signature, and he blew through all of her money, her inheritance. She called the cops. He went to trial for embezzlement. He lost. He was going to go to prison. In those days, they'd say, okay, well, you got 30 days to get your affairs in order. Now they say, bailiff, take him out. Okay, then you got 30 days to get your affairs in order. He did what most people would do, which is what? I'm going to go get smashed. He went to a bar, got drunk. Driving home, runs over somebody and kills them. That's not the worst part of it. He left the scene of the crime. Hit and run. But in those days, the law was, if you're drunk and you get in a car wreck, well, what do you expect? The guy was drunk. He can't function the same. Okay. Today it was, well, you should have known better. You shouldn't have been behind the wheel drunk. Back then, drinking was what was common. In fact, in the Middle Ages in Europe, everybody was half drunk because you couldn't get clean water. You couldn't just drink out of the stream because that's where that was the toilet. Okay, that's where everybody dumped all of the garbage. It was in the river to get it downstream because they didn't have garbage companies. So you couldn't really drink water out of the river, so you had to drink alcohol because alcohol kills germs, right? So he ran over somebody, killed him, left the scene of the crime. Ted Kennedy, President John F. Kennedy's brother, did the same thing. He had a girl who was married, had a woman in the car. They were drunk. He went off a bridge. She drowned.
You survived?
He survived, didn't hurt his career, because that's just kind of what happens. You know, people drink. There's a Frank Sinatra movie. Picks a woman up from the airport. She says, hey, can we go get a drink somewhere? He says, yeah, open up the glove compartment. She pulls out a bottle of bourbon. That was normal. Okay, would you ever see that on TV now? No way. No way. So it was a different world. But as different as it was in the last 40 years, the next 20 years are going to be way, way different than that. So in the last 20 years, things change like that. Well, let's say they change like that. Okay? In the last 20 years. The next 20 years, they're going to change like that. And then it's just going to keep going like that forever. Okay, so let's say we're here. Well, let's say we're here. There's three things that are going to happen. Three big things that are going to happen in here. One is drones. Okay, what's a drone? Okay, we only have 5 minutes. A drone is a thing that flies in the sky that you control. Drones are going to be delivering packages one day in the next 5 years. It's going to be very common just to see the stream of drones going by. Amazon is doing package delivery. They're starting to do package delivery with drones. So the choice will be, oh, you want to buy something from Amazon? Cool. Now, how do you want to have it shipped? You can have it shipped next day for $10, 3 to 5 days for $5, or in 30 minutes for $3. Huh? Huh? What?
Right.
I wanted 30 minutes for $3.
Exactly. Where's it going to be shipped to? If you have it UPS or FedEx, where are they going to send it? To your house. What if you're not there?
Then they're going to bring it back to
They
the warehouse.
They might leave it on your front porch, or they might bring it back and leave a note on your door. Okay, where's the drone going to bring it?
Wherever you are.
Wherever you are, wherever you tell it to bring it.
That is so crazy.
I know it's like, I'm at work. Bring my package.
Here's how it gets even better. So you came in here and you had a cinnamon roll, right?
Yeah.
Very common thing for offices when I was growing up is donuts. Somebody's got to bring donuts in on Friday. Okay. In the future, it's not going to be, okay, well, tomorrow it's your job to bring in the donuts. It's not going to be that way. It's going to be, we're going to have the meeting. Oh, hey, let's order donuts. There's going to be an app for that. Boom, 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 boom.
This one.
Okay.
It's gonna be nuts.
And the drone will deliver the donuts. So yesterday I was with the class up at Nevada Partners. And I said, the thing to do today, you want to be in business? So I said, because they were there to be entrepreneurs. You want to be in business? Here's a great business. Go to the donut shops and say, I want to make a deal to buy donuts from you, because I'm going to go market them to businesses. And what is the guy going to think that you're going to do? You're going to go pick him up and drive him over there, right? You're not going to tell him the whole thing. I want to deliver donuts to all the businesses around here. So you can think of me as your sales guy or whatever it is, but I want you to make extra donuts, which cost you almost nothing. It's just really the cost of flour and your time. Instead of making 10 dozen donuts tonight, make 20 dozen donuts. Because I need to be able to sell these donuts to the businesses at the same price that they could come here and get them for. And I need to make money. Okay, so instead of you, Mr. Donut Guy, making $500 today, you're going to do basically the same work and make $600. But I'm going to take that $100 worth of donuts and I'm going to sell it for $200. What you don't tell them is the drone part. Okay? And then you go get all of the other donut shops under contract too. Because the key thing for your business is to be able to say to businesses, your donuts will be delivered in 10 minutes. okay? Your donuts will be here in 10 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes. And you don't have to worry about competition because what? Because you got a contract with all of the other donut people. That's a simple business to go get started. Okay, so that's that, drones. There's going to be people who decide, you know what, I love baking. I don't love baking, but people are saying, I love baking. I make these great cookies. I want to have my bakery in my house. I love the smell of baking cookies. And I'm going to have my gourmet cookies. And I'm going to use social media to sell these cookies. And you're not going to come to my house to get the cookies. I'm going to ship the cookies to you by drone. And you're going to want to buy these cookies for your mother. You're just going to say, hey, Mom, I was thinking of you.
And send them to her house. Drone.
It only costs $1 to send a package by drone. Okay. So now that's that. That's going to change things. Self-driving cars.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
Okay. I was reading a thing on Tesla. They have a thing called autopilot. So the idea of the feature of autopilot is you're going to go to Walmart. You pull up in front of Walmart. You get out of the car, and the car parks itself. When you're done at Walmart, when you're checking out, you say, come and get me. And the car has your GPS, knows where you are, and it figures out when it has to drive back, because it dropped you off here, right? And it knew how long it took to park. So it knows approximately how long it's going to take to get back here. So you push the button on your phone that says, come get me, or maybe it's on your key. And the car is going to come driving, it's going to come right to the front of the store. That's on a story about Tesla today. Cars in the future are going to be able to drive this far apart. They're way better drivers than we are. We can only process 4 things per second. So if a guy puts on his brakes and we got to figure out what to do, it takes time. If you're going 60 miles an hour, you're traveling at 88 feet per second. Okay? So if a guy in front of you puts his brakes on, between the time brakes, he's slowing down, I got to put my brakes on, that might take a second. How far did you just travel? 88 feet. Okay, that's how you travel. That's why we have to go like 2, depending upon how fast you're going, car lengths apart. Okay? Cars are going at 100, the computers are doing 100 calculations a second. And they don't have one set of eyes. They might have 5 cameras plus GPS. Okay, so it's going to be way safer. But here's the future. Pretend you're sitting in the car and you have an hour drive. What is it going to look like to you when you're looking around? What are you going to see?
Other self-driving cars?
No. What are you going to see? You're in the car, you're looking around inside your car.
You're not touching anything.
Okay, so Elon Musk said,
Just like seats.
you could be reading, you could be sleeping, you could be doing whatever. Eating. Nolan Bushnell, the guy who started Atari and Chuck E. Cheese, he said, no, it's not going to look like that at all. Because we're going to turn the windows into LCD displays. And it's going to be surround.
Right.
And you're going to get to choose. You want to be in outer space? You want to do Star Wars? You want to do Star Trek?
Isn't that dangerous though?
No, the car can drive better than you can.
Oh.
You might be scared, not trust,
Right,
trust the car.
But you will.
That's your own.
You can say
You'll
that now.
get used to it.
When I was growing up in high schools, when they came out with ATM cards, and a lot of people didn't want a debit card. A lot of people didn't want them then because they thought what would happen is I'm going to be at the machine and the bank is going to steal my money. They're not going to get it right. or I'm going to be at the machine and somebody's going to bonk me on the back of the head. And a lot of people wouldn't refuse to take ATM cards. Would you have a successful bank today if you said you have to come into the bank? We don't have ATM machines? No. But people initially said, I'm not going to go to an ATM machine. I want to go in the bank because they're going to rip me off. So on the inside, you're going to be driving along. It might look like you're in space. It might look like you're in the ocean, under the ocean.
That's really cool.
It might look like you're inside a blood vessel, okay? And you're going along. It might look like we're out in the Wild Wild West in a stagecoach, and there's a bunch of Indians chasing us. Is that going to be cool or what?
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen in the next 10 years.
I don't know why, I just got excited.
I know how, like.
Now, the next thing is Hyperloop. What's that? Nolan Bushnell's on the board of directors of Hyperloop 1. That's the new high-speed train that's going to go 700 miles an hour.
Sorry.
It's going to go 700 miles an hour. You're going to be able to get from LA to here in 20 minutes. And it's going to cost less than driving. So you want to go to LA? You want to go to the beach this weekend? Okay, well, it's going to take you 4 hours and cost you about $50. Or you can take Hyperloop 1 and it's going to cost you $30 and get there in 25 minutes. Well, I don't have a car. Well, guess what? They have this thing called Uber. And it's a driverless Uber. So there's not a person. So it's going to be cheaper than having your own car. Okay? So if you can commute to San Francisco in an hour, where might you decide you want to live? Yeah, you could live in Montana and commute to Las Vegas. If they had water, yeah. Well, that'd be an hour. That would be about an hour. Some people might say, you know what, I would love to live and wake up every morning and look out at the Grand Canyon. Guess what? In the future, Grand Canyon's pretty big. They can have thousands of homes on the edge of the Grand Canyon and still have a lot of Grand Canyon left over. So people are going to be able to live a lot further away. And it's going to cost less than driving. That's the future. So what you need to do is make sure whatever it is that you want to do, back to our employment plan, that job is going to exist in the future. Is phlebotomy going to exist? I don't think so.
Me either. Yeah. Once you said that, I was like, no, they're going to invent some type of machine or something.
Yeah, they already have little things that can go over your skin. You can see all the veins. Like,
yeah, here's what Kaiser is doing in California, Kaiser Permanente hospitals. It's cheap medical, and they used to have complaints with people because it was cheap and you didn't have your own doctor and blah, blah, blah. So now it's all using Google Apps. So you go into the doctor's office or the examination room. There's a physician's assistant. There's a big screen TV, a couple cameras, and when it's your appointment, the doctor comes on the screen. Now you get to see a specialist. He's in Sacramento. You're in LA. He's doing the examination, and he's telling the physician's assistant, who gets paid a lot less than the doctor, right? Okay, check this, do this, put this thing on. And are you as a patient going to feel good? Yeah, because you got to see a specialist, so you didn't have to wait. I have a friend who has, he's always hoarse. He needs to go to a speech therapist. He had to wait 10 weeks to be able to see him. Why? Well, because the guy's busy and because he can only see so many people. Because he has to drive into his office and he has to do all this stuff, and there's this in-between time. But if it's just okay, this person is in the room waiting, this person, we just switch the camera over, and I don't have to do any of that other stuff, and all of your records are stored in the cloud, so you can go to any doctor's office. That's what it's going to be like. You're not going to have to worry about, oh, I got to make an appointment, it's 2 weeks away. No, because my dental records, I can go find out what dentist is giving the best deal right now. I want to get my teeth cleaned in an hour. And I don't want to drive more than 5 miles. You have this app here. What dentist can I go to at 10 o'clock? Let's say 3:30. I want to go to a dentist at 3:30. And I don't want to drive more than 5 miles. That's how it's going to be. Because where are my dental records going to be?
Everywhere.
Yeah, they're going to be on the cloud. They're going to be safe and secure. Okay, so that's all the time we have. We're a little bit over. We're 4 minutes over. I have to turn this off.